and welcome to this video on how to harness the power of the moon. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bella Luna. I am a spiritual life coach, healer, mystic, transformational facilitator, and radical self-love advocate. I am also a massive geek about the moon. And if you hadn't already noticed, my logo is the moon. It's the triple goddess moon symbol. And it says it all about how much I geek out over the moon, because there is so much power and potency in the moon, and that's what I want to share with you. So I'm gonna speak to you as if you know nothing about the moon. So if you do know stuff about the moon, then I apologize in advance, but it's good to have a recap and a refresh anyway. So the moon cycle goes for about 28, 29 days. And in this time, we have this really perfect ebb and flow of where we come from the new moon all the way up, building through the waxing stages to the full moon, and then going down through the waning stages to back to the new moon again. And this is a really nice representation of the phases of the moon, the phases of life, the phases of energy levels, and how we can ride these waves to harness the power of the moon, but also to get the best out of ourselves and to honor ourselves in the best way possible. So for example, in this waxing phase, in the build up from the new moon to the full moon, that is when our energy levels are rising. And in this time, we should be taking advantage of that energy level rising. And we should be planning, we should be taking action, we should be making improvements on our life, we should be celebrating, engaging with the world around us, we should be out there playing and really full on in the world. And then after the full moon stage, as we come back down and we're waning towards the new moon again, that's when it's time to slow down, to go inwards, to take a break, to surrender to that flowing and that ebbing back down towards the new moon again. And when we fight these natural rhythms of the planet, when we fight these natural rhythms inside us, that's when we hit stumbling blocks, that's when we feel like we're pushing, and that's when we come into resistance towards ourselves and towards life. So if you're in this waning phase between the full moon and the new moon coming back down, and you've got a lot to do and you're pushing through it and you're like, go, 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 I've got so much to do, let's party, let's clean, let's work, let's do all of the things, you will naturally feel this like, oh my God, this is too much. I don't have the energy for this, I'm burning out. That's because that's the time when you should be slowing down. The time between the new moon and the full moon, the waxing phase, that's when we should be building the momentum and building up the energy and doing and go, go, go. And then the other half is when we should like be, slow, slow, slow. So when you understand this natural rhythm, this ebb and flow, that's when you can move with it and not against it. And that's when things will go a lot more smoothly in your life, and it will bring out the best in you, in yourself. So just to recap through the different stages, different phases of the moon, there are 8 phases to the moon. And we like to start off with the new moon. The new moon is when, almost none of the moon is actually visible. And the reason for this is because the sun is actually shining on the side of the moon that we can't see from Earth. So that's why you can't see any of it lit up. And the new moon is all about setting intentions and planting seeds, because this phase is the beginning of the cycle. It's about new beginnings. So we set intentions for the cycle to come. What do we want to achieve? What energies do we want to call in? What are our goals for this month? And these goals can be practical or they can be energetic. They can be, I would like to experience more joy this month, or I would like to experience more love this month. Or they can be practical goals like, I want to have a spring clean of my house. I want to finish this book I'm writing. I want to, finish this project or achieve this goal. They can be more practical level things. So that's the new moon phase. It's all about setting intentions and planting seeds that we will then cultivate throughout the rest of the phases. So the next phase is the waxing crescent. So the waxing is because we're building up the energy, and the crescent is because it's just a little slither that's available now. You know, the sun and the moon have moved in position so that the sun is now lighting up a little slither of the side of the moon for us on Earth. And the waxing crescent is all about planning and cultivating these intentions. It's about saying, okay, what was my intention, and how can I plan? How can I create a plan to bring this intention to life, to step into it and to build the energy on this? So when we're planning, it's great to get really specific. What am I going to do? When am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? Who can help me do it? Get really specific, and then you're more likely to get this plan done, because planning is what helps bring dreams, intentions, and goals into reality and actually helps get them done. So we're building on the energies of the moon in this second phase by planning and cultivating. The third phase is then the first quarter. So this is when a quarter of the whole moon, but a half of the side that you can see is visible to Earth. So the sun and the moon have moved in position so that now half of the moon that we can see from Earth is visible. So it appears like a half moon. And the first quarter is all about taking massive action. So we've made our intentions, we've set our plan, and then now we want to take action on that plan. So this is a really energetic time when we gotta go with the flow and build on the momentum that the moon is offering us. This is a time where the moon is basically giving us energy, it's throwing energy at us. So it's important for us to recognize that so we can harness it. We can grab onto it and use it to propel us forward and go, okay, let's do this. Like, this is a great time for taking action, because it's a time that you'll be able to take action without being tired, without being in resistance to it. It's a natural flow. So for these few days around the first quarter is the best time of the month to take those huge action steps. And if you experiment with doing it at different times of the month and note down what the phase is at that time and how it made you feel, how resistant or how in flow you were, then it'll be really interesting to see. Presumably you'll be more in flow and more energized at this time. The fourth stage is the waxing gibbous. The moon is now nearly full. It's looking bulbous, it's looking pregnant. And this is a time to start looking at the improvements you can make towards your intentions, your plan, your action steps. Like, what actions have you taken and how can you improve upon them? How can you build upon them in this last, phase before the full moon? How can you, look at what you've already done and say, okay, this worked, this didn't work. Let's do more of what worked. Let's let go of what didn't work, and let's experiment and try and improve this before we lose the momentum of the moon. And then stage 5 is the full moon. This is when the moon is as full as it possibly can be. This phase lasts a few days, so it's not just one day that the full moon happens on. You get at least 3. And the full moon is like the full expression of life. It's like, let's celebrate, let's play, let's engage with the world around us and heal on that deeper level. So it's all about like partying and celebrating, like have dinner parties, go out dancing, listen to music, festivals, play games, release your inner child, and like really engage with the world around you, play, dance, create something. That's a wonderful time for this full expression. So now that we've reached that peak between the new moon and the full moon, we've got up through that waxing phase, we've built on those energies, it's time to begin slowing down. So the next phase after the full moon is the waning gibbous, So we've gone from full and we've got a slither that's now just in the darkness. So we're nearly full, we're still quite bulbous, it's still looking quite pregnant. And this phase is about sharing and teaching everything that you've learned in that first half of the moon phase. Like, what have you learned by setting your intentions, by planning, by acting, by improving, by celebrating? Sharing these teachings, sharing your wisdom, your experience, and your knowledge out with the world. Of course, this is also a great time to share any other knowledge, wisdom, teachings, and experience that you have from the rest of your life. But this is the time to really go out into the world and be like, hey, this is what I've learned. I'd love to share this with the world. How can you learn from my experiences, from my mistakes, from my successes? So then the next phase is the last quarter. So just like we had the first quarter where half of the moon is visible to us on Earth, this is the other half of the moon that will be visible to us on Earth. This is the last quarter. And this phase is all about surrendering and releasing. So it's surrendering to the highest good for all and releasing that which no longer serves you. So this is quite an inward time. It's quite a quiet time. It's a time to just be, just to surrender to the divine, surrender to the ebbing of the energies of the moon, and releasing what's no longer serving you. So think about, can you release any habits, behaviors, relationships, possessions? Can you release any negative thoughts? Can you release any attachments? Releasing can be physical, like possessions. It can be energetic, like releasing fears. It can be emotional, like releasing relationships, habits, behaviors, thoughts, patterns. What can you release at this time? Maybe there's a ritual you can do as well to release, writing it down, burning it in a safe way, letting it go down a river. Do some kind of releasing exercise. You can do this simply with the breath as well, just like breathing in what you want to release, breathing out and imagining it being released. Breathing in, breathing out what you want to release. Breathing in and surrender, out and release. In, surrender, out, release. And then the final phase of the moon is the waning crescent. So this is when we're going back to just a little sliver that's visible. It will be the opposite side of the moon that was visible during the waxing crescent, but it's just a sliver now. And this phase is the last phase before we head back into the new moon. And this phase is all about resting and restoring. So before we get back into that energy building phase of the waxing phase between the new moon and the full moon, we're in this last phase and we want to really rest and restore ourselves before we're going back into that energetic phase. And this is really the most important phase to actively not be active. So this is really the phase. If you don't ever let yourself rest and relax, then plan these 3 days into your calendar every month. And those 3 days are the days where anything you try and do in life anyway, you'll be absolutely exhausted while trying to do it. It will be like, walking through what's that stuff called? Like molasses. What's the other word for molasses? I don't know. Anyway. It will be like walking through sticky treacle, molasses, mud, because you just won't be able to get anywhere. Whereas if you wait to do the things just a few more days, it will be like, ease, joy, and flow. Whereas if you try and do them in this phase, if you try and take action in this phase, it'll just be so hard and there'll be so much resistance. So just take this as permission. It's literally a gift from Mother Nature. It's a gift from the moon saying, these are your days to rest. If you don't allow yourself to rest any other time, the universe is literally gifting you 3 days a month where you can rest, restore, relax, slow down, go inward, say no, cancel all your plans, do absolutely nothing, watch trash on TV, sleep all day long, take naps, meditate, whatever it is that you need to do to rest and restore. This is your permission to do it during this phase. So by following these phases, by following these natural rhythms of the moon and the planet, we're able to step into this flow without needing to push through. When you're trying to take action during the waning phases, like you're just not going to get anywhere and it's going to take so much more effort. So you might as well wait another week to take the action when the moon is ripe and ready for you, and the moon will literally push you forward into success. So if you want to learn more about how to follow the phases of the moon, if you're interested in harnessing the power of the moon, then I have a short course available on my Cosmic Academy website. It's called Moonmentum. It's only a few hours of video, so it won't take up much of your time. You can listen to each video at the appropriate phase of the moon. I give you calendars so that you can help to track the cycles according to where you are in the moon phases now. now, but you can get apps on your phone or just, you know, Google it on your computer. It's really, really easy to find those cycles for wherever you are, whatever month, time, date, year, part of the planet you are currently in. So if that sounds like something that interests you, then I'll pop the link in the description below. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, comment, private message me, email me, whatever feels good for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video about harnessing the power of the moon, and much love and infinite blessings from me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.